run the presentation first and talk all about it, and then I will go through the application form page by page so you can see what to put where and where you can pick up the information from as I go through. Unfortunately, we can't answer any questions outside of this presentation, so if I don't answer your questions as I go through, please ask me at the end. So the university provides this information in good faith, but at the end of it all, it is your application. Unfortunately, we cannot send your application to the Home Office for you. You need to do this yourself. Unlike the Tier 4 where we can send it and help you all the way through, this is the only information we give. So you can apply for your Tier 1 post-study work visa if you have completed an undergraduate or postgraduate degree recently within the last 12 months or will complete before next April. Yes, if you have completed a PGCE or PGDE, again, or if before next April, because Tier 1 stops in April next year. No, you can't claim if you have a postgraduate diploma or a postgraduate certificate. And no, if your writing up will not be finished in time before April next year. So you need to think about whether you can apply or not. You should apply before your current Tier 4 visa finishes if you are applying here in the UK. You need to apply after your degree has been awarded and you have your Tier 1 letter. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. If you want to apply from your home country, the law says that you have 12 months in which to apply for your Tier 1 visa, but the Tier 1 post-study work finishes in April next year, so you have up until April next year to apply. The date of the award is taken on the day, well, you can read that, that's what it says from the policy guidance, but basically the date of award will be the date of the first day of the next month following your department exam board, and each department varies, so I don't know when that's going to be for your department. If you want to find out, you need to ask in your department, but most of them are in October and November. So either your Tier 1 post-study work letter will be available at the beginning of November or the beginning of December or the beginning of January. Anybody here whose visa does not finish end of January, 26th of January or end of January? Everybody's visa finishes end of January, yes? Yeah, okay. So you should have good time to get your letter, and you need that. That's very, very important. Again, you can check with your department to find out when your exam board sits so that you know when your letter's going to be available. So undergraduate and postgraduate taught, you can collect your letter in person. You will be emailed to let you know where and when. I haven't got that information. That information will come from registry, but you will be emailed about that. PhDs, your letter will be issued automatically with written confirmation of your award. All of you here, your letters will be available before your current visa finishes, so there's no problem. And if is anybody going to return home and apply from home, or are you're all going to stay here? Yeah, everybody stay here, okay. But bear in mind that you can return home and apply before April if you want to. You can apply from here or from home country. If you have a Tier 4 student visa and don't meet all the criteria, you must leave the country before your Tier 4 student visa finishes. If you stay here in the UK, you can't stay here in the UK and wait to apply if your visa is going to finish. But your visas are all okay, so you should be fine. Anybody here on a dependent visa? Anybody here not on Tier 4 or student visa? Yeah, so okay, you're all okay. If anybody has a husband, wife, children, they can also apply at the same time as you for your Tier 1 post-study work visa. how much is it going to cost? For you, if you send by post, it's going to cost $594. Anybody who has a dependent, it's going to cost $297 each dependent. So $594 for you. If you have any dependents, it's going to be $297 for each dependent. If you want to make an in-person application, it will cost $918 for you and $459 for each of your dependents. We strongly advise you to pay for this using postal orders. You can buy postal orders from any post office for the total value, and you need to pay in cash for your postal orders because the post office will only accept payments in cash. Outside the UK, if you do decide to go outside the UK, it's going to cost you £474, so it is cheaper, and you use form VAF9 with Appendix 4. But you can find that information on the web. It's quite easy to find that. Any dependents pay £474 and apply on form VAF10. You need to score 95 points for this. You get 75 points for attributes, which means studying here, and your Tier 1 letter gives you that automatically. You get 10 points for speaking English and studying in English. Your Tier 1 letter gives you that automatically. And you get 10 points for providing bank statements. So basically you need your Tier 1 letter, it's very important, and your bank statements and your passport. But I'll go through that in a minute. So this is how you get your points. You get 20 points by doing a undergraduate or postgraduate degree, or a certificate or diploma, those two, or, well, not you because you're not in Scotland. So any of those, so it's going to be your undergraduate or postgraduate degree. You get 20 points for studying at University of Leicester. Your Tier 1 letter proves that. And the period of study, you get 20 points for that as well. And your Tier 1 letter proves that. You don't need any other document, just this Tier 1 letter. Your passport shows that you get 15 points because you have a current visa. You get 10 points for English language. The Tier 1 letter proves that. And you get 10 points for bank statements. So the whole thing totals up to, should be 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 95 in total. So you get the points from having a valid visa, the Tier 1 letter, and bank statements. Mainly 3 articles. On the application form, it tells you at the end, you have a table to complete, and it tells you as you go through the form where you can get these points from. And you need to pick that up, but we will go through that at the end. To prove that, you need to have various pieces of paper, like I've just said. Your original certificate of award or your Tier 1 letter, and you get 20 points. This will become more clear at the end. Your passport, as I said, 20 points. Tier 1 letter, date of award, 15 points. 10 points for the English and 10 points for the maintenance. That just backs up the previous slide, and that's how you get the points and what documents you need. How much money do you need to show for this visa? Inside the UK, you need £800 for 90 days, the previous 90 days, and the last date on the bank statement can be no older than 1 month from when you apply. So if you want to apply and you're sending off your application on, say, the 1st of January, you can't use June's bank statements because there's more than 1 month from the end of June to the beginning of January. So basically you need the previous 3 months bank statements. This £800 for all of that 90 days cannot fall below the £800 at any point on the bank statement. Even for half a day, if it dips down below 800, there's no point in applying, you will be refused. So keep an eye on your bank balance. Obviously, anything more than 800 is fine, but it can't fall below £800 for 90 days, basically the previous 3 months. before I go on, has anybody got a question with that? Don't ask me about the bank statements yet, because I will tell you. But you're quite happy, you understand it's the previous 3 months. I know I'm going on and on and on about it, but you need to be sure that it doesn't fall below. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah? For each dependent, you need to have £533 per dependent. If you decide to go home and apply it in your own country before April, you need 2,800 for 90 days, and the balance can't fall below the 2,800 if you're applying inside your country. For each dependent, they need 1,600 for each dependent if you're applying in your own country. Each bank statement must be an original. There are 3 ways you can get bank statements. One way is to get, if you're with HSBC or NatWest or Bank of Northern Ireland or something like that, you need original bank statements because the bank won't stamp any of your statements. So you need to arrange for them to post bank statements to you. So make sure they know where you live. The bank statement must be original. If you bank with Lloyds TSB, that's the only bank who will stamp bank statements. So you could go online, print out your own bank statements, run over to Lloyds, they will stamp every page, and those are okay, you can use those. Or, if you bank with Santander, they will provide a letter in the correct format, and it says that you've held the money for 90 days, if you have held the money for 90 days. So basically 3 forms, either original bank statements, printed out bank statements from Lloyds TSB stamped on every page with Lloyds stamp, or a bank letter from Santander. If you are going to use your bank account in your home country, which you might, then again, it must be an original bank statement, not a certificate of deposit, and it must be stamped on every page on original bank letterheads. Please read the policy guidance for all of this, because it's quite clearly stated in the policy guidance. For bank statements, it's on pages 20 and 21. If you go online and search for Tier 1 Post-Study Work Policy Guidance, you need to read that as you're going through the whole application form. Any questions with bank statements?
Excuse me. So it won't be any problem if we apply within the country and using a international bank statement?
If you want to stay here in the UK and use a bank account from your home country, that's absolutely fine. Must be an original bank statement though. And if the currency is not in pounds sterling, you need to go onto the ona.com website and do a conversion of the closing balance. Read the policy guidance, it tells you this quite clearly. Tier 1 Post-Study Work Policy Guidance. Okay? Anything else?
NatWest Bank also provide the stamp statement.
Say again?
NatWest Bank also give the stamps on the
No, that's what I said. They don't provide. No, they don't.
They don't.
No. You need original bank statements. You have missed half the presentation. Are you okay with this? Tier 1 Post-Study Work presentation, not Tier 4. Okay? But you have missed half the presentation almost. So you might want to come along to the next one as well. So okay with bank statements. Originals, I'll hammer it again because I'm not answering any questions at the end, so ask me now if you need to. Either originals or Santander letter or Lloyds bank statement stamped on every page, or your home bank account in your own country, originals with the closing balance converted using the ona.com website. But go to the policy guidance online and it's quite clear, it's set out quite clearly and easily for you. Any more questions on bank statements?
So should we print a classic or safer e-saver?
Doesn't matter.
So which one we print? There should be more than 800 pounds.
Whichever bank account has more than £800 in for 90 days.
Okay, so the one we print, there should be set. There's more than 800 pounds.
Yes, you need to have £800 for 90 days.
Excuse me. Yeah. That transaction thing, does it have to exactly give all the transactions within 19 days? Because previously for my tier 4 visa, for my tier 4 visa, my bank statement only had a a word that this person holds this amount of money in 1 month, consequently 1 month.
That's not a bank statement, that's more like a bank letter.
Okay, it has a account number, all the money inside it, the date.
That would be a bank letter.
I use that for my tier 4 visa.
Right.
Okay.
So which bank are you in?
It's my home country bank.
So if they can provide a bank letter, that would be a bank letter in effect, and that's fine. But it needs to be on their letterhead and have all the information on according to the policy guidance. It needs to show that you've had that money for the past 90 days.
Okay. It was written in 1 sentence, that's all.
One sentence if it's a bank letter, yeah. If it's not a bank letter, it needs to be a bank statement, and you need to show that you've had the money for 90 days in the main part of the bank statement, not just the heading bit where it says date of last statement or something like that. That doesn't prove that you've held the money for the required time. So do be careful with this.
Is it really matters that if we use our saving account or current account to show the 800 pound? It's the same.
If he's in bank statement sent in by post, do you need, like when it's a natural, do you need to get a stamp from them?
No, that's what I said. Either originals or the only bank that will stamp your bank statements are Lloyds TSB. So if you're banking with NatWest, you need to order them to be posted to you.
I was just wondering if you go into HSBC, can they print it out for you there, or do you have to actually have it now?
Has anybody been sponsored by a government? No? Nobody was sponsored by, not parents or family, by a government or an international company? Okay, right, forget that one. So, any more questions on bank statements? Have I answered all your questions? You need original bank statements or copies stamped by Lloyds TSB or Santander letter original, or your home country bank statements. Please read the policy guidance, Tier 1 post-study work policy guidance from the web. I just asked if is anybody sponsored, and you're not, so we'll ignore that. Again, anybody got dependents? I'll ask again. Husband, wife, children? No? Right, I'll skip that then, because we don't need to know about that. At the moment, many of you have a visa stamp in your passport. Some might have a biometric card. In future, you will not have any evidence in your passport of your visa. It will be held on your biometric card. And it's a credit card-sized piece of plastic. The visa information is held in this microchip, a gold microchip. It has your photograph on, visa start and end dates up here. And it has other information about your name, whether you can work or not, your date of birth, your town, where you were born, all that sort of information. This is your visa. From now on, this will be your visa. In order to travel, you need this and your passport. You cannot travel alone on your passport or alone on the biometric card. You need both. Please keep this biometric card in a safe place. Don't keep it in your wallet or your handbag in case you lose it, because it's a right kerfuffle to try and go and get a replacement card. Keep a copy of it with you, but keep it somewhere safe, in your room or in your home, etc.
We don't have biometric card right now.
Okay?
So do we need to ask them for any biometric card or get an appointment to make any biometric card, or visa is fine?
The way it works is that you will complete your application, you will send it to the Home Office by special delivery. They will write to you, they will send a letter to you approximately 2 or 3 weeks after the Home Office receive your application, telling you to get your biometrics done. Well, inviting you to, but basically telling you to get your biometrics done, which means your fingerprints taken and eyes scanned. The letter is very, very easy to follow. You need to make an appointment at one of the public inquiry offices. The nearest one to here is Birmingham, or you could go to Croydon in London, or Sheffield or Liverpool or Northern Ireland. I think there's a post, I'm not sure about the post offices in Derby, but it gives you a list of places where you can go. Where have we got to? And you need to make an appointment, and you can do this online. The link is on the letter, it tells you how to do that on the letter, or you can telephone the number it gives you on the letter. You can't do this before because you need the reference number that it's got on the letter, because you need to use that to make your appointment. And then you turn up for your appointment, you have all that biometric information taken, that information is sent down to Cardiff, and your biometric card is produced and posted to you at the address you give the Home Office. Meanwhile, your passport and all the other information is handled in Croydon, we think, and is then posted to you separately. So you'll get two things returned to you. Does that answer the question? Yeah. I've probably said all this. So you build that in-person application biometric set appointment. You can do this in person. If you want to do this in person, it's more expensive and it's much, much quicker. And you get your biometrics done at the appointment. To make an appointment for an in-person application, you can go online or you can ring a telephone number which I can give to you if you want. Does anybody want the telephone number?
Yes, please.
0870 606 7766. Or you can go onto the UKBA website and book an appointment, find the link to book an appointment and just follow it through. If you try to do that now, the website keeps crashing because loads of students are trying to renew their visas. So keep on trying, just keep on doing it, keep on going. If you try in November, it's a bit more calm. October is the premium time for student visas, and it's just the one website for this. They do all of the application appointments. So try at the beginning of November when the Home Office has calmed down a little bit, or just keep trying. All dependents will need to have their biometrics taken, except for children under 6 who only need to have their photographs. That's because children jiggle about and won't keep their fingerprints still, and they don't get a proper impression. If anybody's applying from outside, the same documents are required as in the UK. Outside the UK and in the UK, if you have any documents that are not in English, they need to be professionally translated. Now, it's unlikely that you are going to have, unless it's bank statements, that's the only document you might have that are not in English. And if they are not in English, they need to be professionally translated. Please look at the policy guidance if you think that applies to you. There's that ona.com website that I was talking about. It's in the policy guidance, read the policy guidance. Again, if you're applying outside the UK, you need a fee of £2,800 and £1,600 for each dependent. So what documents do you need? You'll need your passport and or biometric card if you have one. You need bank statements. Nobody's been sponsored, so you don't need a sponsor, you don't need a consent letter. You need two photographs in the correct format. Please read the policy guidance. You need special photographs. Go to Jacobs or Jessop's here in Leicester, or any proper photograph shop, not a photograph booth. Don't use those. Go to a proper place. You need your Tier 1 post-study work letter, which we discussed. You will receive information about that when they're available. You need your degree or your transcript. Well, you won't have your degree because you won't have graduated by this time. If you can provide your original transcript, then that would be great. But your Tier 1 letter has a sentence that we've put on it to say that you will graduate, and that's fine. You'll need the application fee by postal order. So get postal orders. All of this information is in the policy guidance and the application form. If you have to register with the police, then you need your up-to-date police registration form. One or two of you may have to. Others, if it doesn't say anything about police registration on your visa, you don't need to. It's only for certain students. So that's the list of documents that you need.
Excuse me? we'll be getting degree by 27th, I think 27th January, right? What about the transcript?
You can get a transcript before, but you don't necessarily need it because your Tier 1 letter will state actually specifically on it that you will graduate. It's only where universities have not provided a good letter or students are applying after they've got their degree certificate that they can send it. So your letter will be enough. You don't need your transcript. If you've got it and can send the original, then send it. But it's not needed. Your application will not fail because you don't have a transcript. It'll be okay. Your application will fail if your bank statements are wrong. Your application could fail if your photographs are wrong. And obviously if you don't provide all the documents. But it's really, your application could fail if your bank statements dip below £800 at any time. And they can see it on the bank statements. Or if your bank statements are not in the correct format. Original bank statements will be perfect. Lloyd's bank statements will be stamped, and if they're stamped, they're absolutely fine. Santander letters are perfect. International bank accounts, sometimes it can be difficult. You need to make it very clear that it's a bank statement and that it's got the conversion, the ONA.com conversion on it. So take particular attention to that if you're using an overseas account. Otherwise, I don't see how really it can fail unless you mess up the application form. So pay particular attention when you're completing the form and have the policy guidance at the side of you and keep on looking back to the policy guidance. But I will go through the form in a minute and show you. It's not that difficult to complete.
Excuse me? Is there a difference between an award letter and a Tier 1 visa?
Is there a difference between what?
Award letter and Tier 1 letter.
Award.
No, not really. Not really. I don't think I know the answer to that. There might be, you want your Tier 1 post-study work letter, and it's called a Tier 1 letter. That's what you need. Yeah.
So we don't have to get the award letter for the application sent.
You need the Tier 1 letter.
Just only one letter.
One letter.
Once we are finished with making keeping the document in the organized format, can we get it checked from somewhere like someone?
You can take it to an immigration solicitor. That will cost you about £150, I would think. Well, I don't know how much it would cost, but you could get it checked by an immigration consultant, yeah. You'd need to go onto the web and find an immigration consultant if you wanted to. Okay, any more questions? No? Make sure you keep an eye on using the latest application form. At the moment, the current form is dated July this year. I don't expect it to change, but it might. So make sure you keep an eye on the websites and use the current form. So use the form that's on the website at the point when you're going to apply. And that will be fine, because they take off old ones. You can't get hold of them. Only apply when you've got all the documents, because you can't send documents down later to linked up with your application. Keep copies of things like your passport, your bank statements, your Tier 1 letter, parts of the application form that you want to keep copies of. It's up to you what you do with that. You can only use original documents. No photocopies, scans or faxes or anything like that, except for the Lloyd's bank statements, if they're stamped on every page. That's the only one that can be a copy of some sort. If you want to write a letter to go with it, then letters need to be addressed to the UK Border Agency. I don't know why you would. Post by special delivery. Take your application when it's complete to the post office and ask to send it by special delivery. It'll cost you about £5 or £6 to send it, depending on the weight. And you get a receipt with that and a tracking number, so that you could go online to the post office website and track where your application is. Using special delivery is the safest way of sending it, or a courier if you wanted to. Don't just send it by recorded delivery, don't just send it by ordinary post. This is your passport. Please read the policy guidance on the UK Border website. After you've finished your course, you are permitted to work, particularly after you've finished everything and whilst you await a decision from the Home Office. You're totally okay to work full-time. Your employers might not like this, but you are legally entitled to work. At the moment, the Home Office website is showing that they're taking around about 5 weeks after your biometrics. So apparently the whole process is going to take something in the region of 8 or 9 or 10 weeks-ish, approximately. If you apply after your Tier 4 current visa finishes, whilst your application is at the Home Office, fine, no problem. You're totally legal to stay here until they contact you or send back your new visa. So the Home Office has announced that post-study work will close in April next year. We don't know when in April. We don't know whether it's middle, end or beginning. We don't know when. They just said April. We haven't heard anything else on this. And apparently there will be a new route similar to Tier 2 working being introduced. For this new route, we expect you'll need a job offer, we think. And we think the minimum salary might be around £20,000 a year. So you couldn't apply for this new visa, whatever it's going to be called, stacking shelves at Marks and Spencer's, because you wouldn't earn enough. So you need to have a proper career job to get that. Any new dependents might not be allowed to come over here and join you, but I don't know what the rules are going to say, but be aware that they might not. And there will be a new student entrepreneur route, and I have no more information about any of this. But just to make you aware of the changes that we've heard so far, but unfortunately the Home Office have not told us any more. So the important thing for you is that this will finish in April next year. But your visas finish at the end of January, so you need to apply before your current visa finishes if you are going to apply here in the UK. If you're going to go home and apply from your home country, you need to apply before April next year. If your application is refused, then you need legal advice. We have a number, well, 2, I think, immigration solicitors that we know of who are very good, and a welfare reception can give you their information if you wish. Unfortunately, this is the only place where you can get information on Tier 1 from us. We can't offer individual appointments or answer emails or anything else. It's only here and now that we can help you. We just haven't got enough staff. We're snowed under with student stuff. So please ask any questions now before I go through the form. You're all okay? You know everything about it? Yep.
I just want to ask, someone is applying for a job and it says the company's requirement that you have full legal right to work in the UK.
You do have.
You do because of that, what it said in the previous slide, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're totally legal to work. Okay. The point about that is that the employers don't like it because they know that you have a limited time. Providing you get your Tier 1, then that's fine, you continue, but it's only for 2 years. And then after that, you can't do anything unless the employer is going to keep you on. So employers don't like it too much. One thing you can do, I'm sure you probably know this, you're all here now on either a student or a Tier 4 visa. You can change here in the UK to Tier 1 post-study work. At the end of that, you can change here in the UK back to Tier 4. Nothing else apart from Tier 2. You can't do anything else. You can't change to indefinite leave to remain. You can't, what else can't you change? To a visit visa, for example. But you can switch backwards and forwards between students and Tier 1 here in the UK, if you want to. Yeah, question?
I was going to ask, when your visa expires, say late January, are you still legally entitled to work while the post-study work visa is being processed?
Yeah.
I don't understand. From Tier 4, we will be converting into Tier 1.
If you apply,
yeah.
Tier 1 post-study work, yeah.
And then afterwards?
If you want to do another course of study here in the UK,
then
and
we
you
can
get accepted, you can change back here in the UK rather than return home.
Okay.
To a student visa again, because you started off with a student visa. It's the chain because you were a student in the first place.
Ma'am, what about the HSMP, highly skilled work visa?
It's finished.
It's finished, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay. if we, for example, apply this November for this PSW, and when exactly the visa started? I mean, the date of the visa, when it started and when it gets finished.
It's a 2-year visa.
Okay, I mean when it
When
starts.
will it start? It should run on from your. Difficult to say when the caseworker approves it. So there could be a gap between the end of your Tier 4 and the start of your Tier 1, but that's fine.
So is it going to be before the expiry of my Tier 4, or is it going to be after the?
It won't be before the expiry of your Tier 4. It'll probably be after. It'll probably run, if your visa's finished on the 26th of January, which I think they do, it may well run from the 27th of January. Now, the problem with this is that nobody comes to tell me what's going on with Tier 1 post-study work, because by the time you apply, you've all finished your studies, you've probably moved away, you're probably living in London or Yorkshire or somewhere, and when you've got your visa, you don't come running back and say, look, I've got my visa, because you've moved on, so I don't know what's going on at the point that you get your visas. I'm only giving you the information that we have. So if anybody wants to run back and show me the Tier 1 post-study work visa, great, I'd love to see it.
What about in my case, because my student visa will expire in October 2012.
October next year?
Yeah.
Right. So the Tier 1 post-study work finishes in April next year.
Yeah, but I can still apply for the Tier 1 post-study work visa because I have graduated already.
You graduated?
Yeah.
You're going to use
I
an
changed my
undergraduate
course
degree?
from bachelor's to master's.
Right.
So I've got
A
one.
bachelor's
Yeah,
degree.
I've got a master's now.
You've got masters now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my Tier 4 visa will expire in October next year.
Okay.
But I can still apply
Yeah,
for.
you can.
So when will my visa start? Like,
When the caseworker, in your case, when the
Yeah.
caseworker processes it, so your Tier 4 visa will be what they call curtailed or stopped,
oh yeah.
and your Tier 1 will start, so
start.
it's probably going to be January, I would imagine.
And could you tell me if the rules are similar for Tier 2 visa?
Tier 2?
Yeah.
Tier 2 is a professional visa, and we
Yeah.
just advise on student visas. You need to speak to HR here at the university,
Yeah.
but you need a job offer for
Yeah,
a Tier
I've got
2.
it.
You have?
Yeah.
With the university?
No.
No,
with the
right, you need
company.
to speak to your employer about that.
So they're gonna apply.
Sorry?
So they're gonna apply.
I think you apply for it. I don't have the information. We don't advise on that. I'm not qualified to advise on Tier 2. Yes.
I have got a bachelor degree.
Yeah.
My visa are going to expire in 2013. So, and then your Tier 1 application is going to close
in April next
time.
year.
So when is the best time I'm going to apply?
When did you get your bachelor's degree?
This year.
This year, right. So you have, if you're going to use a degree like an undergraduate degree, then you have 12 months to use that degree.
But the thing is, I've got a master degree, master visa right now. So would that be clashes?
They'll stop your master. They'll stop it, and they'll give you, if you're successful, you get your application in time, they'll just stop your
So
Tier 4.
I can't apply it once I finish my masters because that will be the Tier 1 form will be closed by that time.
If you have an undergraduate degree and you got your undergraduate degree in June or July this year, you can use that to apply for your Tier 1, and you have 12 months after the date of the award to use that undergraduate degree to apply for Tier 1 post-study
So
work.
it doesn't matter whether they close in April time, I can still apply it up in 12 months.
You've got 12 months, yes, yes.
Okay.
Also, if you want to, you can study on a Tier 1 post-study work visa. It's not quite the idea of it, but you actually can, because it doesn't say you can't, so you can.
If we were in the midst of a post-study work visa, and you
Sorry,
got,
say again,
I'm sorry, if we were in the midst of a post-study work visa and we got a funded PhD scholarship,
Yeah.
would there be any difficulty switching from the post-study work to
No.
I'm guessing another student visa?
No, not at all. Here in the UK is fine, yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Fine.
Okay, once you applied for the PSW and after that if you change an address, how do we inform?
Don't change the address.
Because currently we're living in the university accommodation, but once we get our results and our the PSW letter, we will obviously have to move out. So how to go about that?
That's a good question. If you're in university accommodation, pass. I can't answer you, because you need need to put your new address on the application form. You wait until January, you'll be in your new accommodation by then, won't you? So put down your new address on the application form, it saves any problems then. Otherwise they're going to post it back to somewhere in the university, you'll never see it. It'll never get to you. Wait until you've got your new address outside university accommodation.
Yeah. One question: is it going to be different if we apply within the country or abroad?
No,
I mean,
no difference.
no difference. I mean, is it better to apply it within the country?
No.
Nothing.
As far as I'm aware, it makes not a scrap of difference.
The expiry date of my visa is end of next year, January. But if I cannot collect all the documents until February, so I should leave the UK?
Yes, definitely yes.
I can I renew my student visa for several months?
No.
No?
Absolutely not, no.
Okay, thank you.
Can we travel on a student visa if the course is finished, even from a home country?
You can, if you want to travel out of the country when your Tier 4 course has finished, you might have a problem when you come back into immigration because they might want to know why you are returning on a Tier 4 student visa when you're not studying. They know full well your course is finished. So, our advice to students is when you come back through immigration, carry with you your Tier 1 post-study work application form, carry with you your bank statements and tell the immigration officers that you're going to apply for your Tier 1 post-study work here in the UK. If you're stopped, if you're questioned, you might not be. But carry some armour with you to hit them, to persuade them.
Okay, one more question regarding the address for me. That if there's a different address on the bank statement for the past 3 months and you provide a different address maybe in London, so will that affect the application?
My experience is that a different bank address on the bank statement and a different address on the application form doesn't make any difference. The Home Office knows you move around. They might check, but you might actually want to put in some proof of the address. If I was doing that, it doesn't ask for it, but I would put in some proof of the address on my bank statements. Like if you're on university accommodation, you must have your offer letter.
Yes.
Send that as well.
Yeah, but I mean, as I said in my last question, that is bound to change. So
that will change. Yes. So you're in, for example, Mary G houses now. I mean, probably not, but suppose you are, and you're going to be living in London, and you put down your Mary G. Your Mary G address shows on your bank statements, but on the form you've got a London address. Send with your application your offer letter for your Mary G accommodation, which proves the address on the bank statements. But they can see, they understand that students move around.
Yeah, that's right.
That they know that. I've never heard of any problem with this at all, ever. But then students are off swanning away in Scotland and don't tell me these things. But I've never ever heard of it, any problems with it.
So I will have to provide a proof of the address that is there on the bank statement, not the new address, right?
Correct. It's a good idea. You don't have to. They don't ask for it, but it's a good idea, if you can. Okay, shall I go on to the form then, page by page? You okay? Any more questions?
Does the application different? Is it different from the, if we apply outside the country, is it going to be different from this application?
It's a different thing, because there are two things with this. There are if you apply for a visa in your home country, you get something called entry clearance.